So I'm very honored to give this contribution to this celebration. Let's say it's a humble work, but volunteer work is an humble work all the time. So this is what we can propose. It's based on the original documents and pictures, but also on some imagination. But because of course imagination is always there. Without imagination we cannot go so far. So that's why. So we are going to tell the story that we know already, but it's nice to repeat the story every time. And so we will see also some pictures from 1 century ago and till a few weeks ago. So this is really 100 history. Okay, let's start. Ready. Sorry. Village of N, Eastern France, 18th November 1920.
We arrived last night in this desert land, 80 families and not even a house standing around the ruins of the church.
Regional authorities confirmed that the presence of German volunteers is accepted at the condition that they are in a small number and they keep a good behavior. The mayor of N wished to start as soon as possible. Local people are in extreme urgency of shelters for the winter. In Frankfurt, I could collect and select applications by German and Hungarian volunteers, so I could apply for their visas. Pierre Ceresol and I left Frankfurt on the evening of the 16th of November, and we arrived in Clermont the next day at noon. We collected materials, furniture, and tools generously provided by the local group of the Movement for Reconciliation, which gave us also a vehicle. We arrived at Aisne on the 18th of November at night. There we settled in a ruined shack without floors nor windows. Nevertheless, we put down our camp beds and we even slept well, regardless of the 15 degrees below zero. The next day, we fixed up our base, and on Saturday, the 20th of November, we placed the angle stone of the first house we would build for the homeless people in Aisne. We are full of enthusiasm, and people thank us all the time. But we are still waiting for our German friends, who will hopefully join us soon.
War destroys, peace rebuilds.
Pay attention, we can find some unexploded bombs.
We must hurry. These people will not be able to face another cold winter without a home.
A few months before, in July 1920, at Bilthoven, the Netherlands, meeting of new peace international movements.
As we did last year, we have been talking for 2 days about this war, which involved and destroyed the whole world for the first time in humanity history. How our religious and civil movements can provide an answer to this disaster. How can we operate so that it will not happen anymore in the future?
Exactly as it happened last year. We have been talking and talking and talking. That is enough.
I come from Cologne. My brother was a soldier in Eastern France. He is killed. He killed, and he was killed in Verdun. What can I do to recover these pains?
What we can do for creating a moral alternative to war, something practical, deeds, not words. The war's purpose is to destroy. Well, let us build again. We need a civil service with no links with war-oriented governments.
Who is speaking with such energy? He is Pierre Ceresol, Swiss engineer, issuing from a wealthy family with members in National Army. He was destined to a brilliant university career, but he gave up in 1910 for a world tour, which led him to work also in Hawaii and in Japan. He came back just in 1914 at the opening of the World War. He started to refuse taxes for military purposes, action who will cost him several days of prison, even just before he died in 1945. Few months later, after the conference in Bilthofen, he and Hubert Parris, a British Quaker activist, ran across France on the border with Germany to look for a reconstruction project to involve international volunteers. They wanted to organize teams of volunteers coming from France, Britain, USA, and allied countries, as well from Germany and Hungary. Former enemies working side by side to build on ruins. This sounds like a revolution. Reconstruction work is extremely necessary everywhere. Pierre and Hubert knocked to several doors of local communities, but whenever they proposed their original idea, authorities and relief committees refused their help. The war is over, but the enemy is still in their minds. At the end, the mayor of N, Monsieur Leguet, accepted the offer. N is completely destroyed. It lies on the front line. Pierre and Hubert arrived to N at night on 17th November 1920. On 26th December, Pierre Ceresol writes with the typewriter a report to the Solidarity Group, which are supporting the project.
Right on Christmas Day, our first friend former enemy finally joined us. It is a good omen for the work we started here, to rebuild peace on earth for the band of goodwill. He is Adalbert Szilard, a musician and student of architecture in Budapest. Today it is Hungary, but 1 year ago, Budapest was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Since our last report, we have achieved the construction of 2 temporary houses for homeless people, one of which is now our base. A third one will be ready soon. At the end of November, a Dutch teacher, Maria van der Linden, joined our group, and her presence has been essential for the best management of the house and the meals. As suggested by Madame Biller, head of the relief committee, Hubert Parris has started to give English lessons to about 15 boys and girls of N.
A month later, Hubert Parris sends another encouraging report to the group of support, mentioning the name of the volunteers on the project.
At the turn of the new year, our international group is now finally completed. 3 German volunteers have arrived, and we welcome them warmly. Valentin Hopper, artisan and former soldier in France. Karl Keinat, who is also an artisan, a former soldier in Belgium and in Russia. And Helmut Starke, a shop tenant and former soldier in Russia. They look shy and they do not speak French, so they communicate in German with some of us, but they are very motivated and ready to work. Including us, we are altogether 8 volunteers. Adalbert Szilard, a Hungarian student and musician. Maria van den Linden, a Dutch teacher. Pierre Ceresol, a Swiss engineer. Ernest Ceresol, a Swiss former army officer. And me, Hubert Parris, a British Quaker activist. Our 4th house is almost completed, with a delay caused by the lack of some iron joints that never arrived. In the end, we decided to make our own. Karl has been extremely useful in his task, as he worked as a smith in Cologne before the war. He has even been able to restore a rusty military forge, which villagers are now using to repair farming tools. We work also in private fields, helping people in cleaning their fruit gardens by ruins. Thank to you all for the support you provide us all the time.
So everything is running well? Not really. At the end of March 1921, volunteers started to feel hostility in the host community.
Oh, the prefecture has communicated that there are no more funds for our project. Oh,
Strange. Just a few weeks ago, they proposed us to open new projects in other villages around here. We are already looking for more volunteers to join us.
Certainly, it is Madame Bilia's fault. She and the relief committee have always been against us. She hates German people because she lost her husband, who was sent to fight and die in Belgium.
And the mayor? What is he planning to do?
We do not undervalue the very useful work done by the international volunteers. Their arrival last November gave us vitality and hope to overcome the disaster of the war. Furthermore, our relief committee got new impulse and our people rediscovered the spirit of solidarity. We sincerely thank you very much, but we cannot accept the presence of these enemies of our homeland, of these butchers of our people. This is a violence that cannot be imposed upon us. Our widows and orphans must be protected from this new outrage. A long time will be needed for our injuries to be cured and healed, if this will ever happen. Rebuilding cannot mean to forget to mourn our dead and our ruins.
Listen to me, dear Pierre. The people of N are really happy to host your volunteers. Of course, there are always rude people, but how to forget that 1 year ago we were still under the cannon's fire? You know very well that I do not think anything bad against these Germans and Austrians you took here. But some, like Madame Billier, still look at them as if they have their helmets on their heads. Besides, they do not speak one word of French. We cannot make friends with them, and someone is even whispering that they are spies preparing a new attack from Germany. I do tell them that these ideas are just absurdities, but it's impossible to argue with these obstinate farmers and widows. Your help is precious to us, Pierre. Listen to me. Send home those those German volunteers, and you will see that in N everybody likes you again.
Pierre calls all the volunteers for a meeting. A decision is to be taken together.
I think, and I'm sure my German comrades agree, that we do not want to create troubles to the project. So we will leave tomorrow. Your work here is too important to be endangered. The idea of an international work camp is really wonderful, and we feel so happy to share this experience with you. But the war is still too close to the people in the village. It's too early for them to speak about peace.
But we do not speak about peace. We work for peace.
Maybe we could try to find a compromise. We can ask the local French ladies of the relief committee to teach French to our German friends, so they will be able to understand and speak to everybody.
Oh, yes, or we can send them back for 2 or 3 weeks. So the local authorities will give us some more work to do, and they will come back later, for example.
Damn, I did not come here to learn how to write poems in French. We do like that. You, British and Swiss people, you can leave tomorrow. We, the German, would stay for working. I'm curious to look at the faces of those close-minded French people.
Yesterday, I was helping an old peasant to remove stones and rubble from his fruit garden. And when he realized that we were alone, he came very close to me. He told me in a whisper, "The war will start again. It will end only when either Germany or France will disappear. We hate each other too much."
A long discussion takes place. The next day, Pierre asks to the mayor an open meeting with the whole and community.
Distinguished mayor, members of the relief committee, dear people of N. We are in April now, and for 5 months, we, our group of international volunteers, have been living inside your community, which suffered so much because of the war. We arrived in wintertime and met ruins and sorrows. We tried to provide help and solidarity. We met hope too, a special hope that is your hope and our hope. Peace must become stronger than war. Our solidarity is without borders. We do not accept violence or hate. We do not accept divisions and prejudices. We thank you with all our heart for your hospitality and for having allowed us to test our motivation. But we will leave tomorrow. We will all go away. We will continue our experiment elsewhere. We too want to create an army, a peace army of people of goodwill. An army specialized against the poison gas of misunderstanding, prejudice, hostility, and hatred imposed by political powers. A peaceful army made of women and men who choose to leave their comfortable homes and their safe habits to bring support and solidarity to those who are in need, or to share a common idea. Women and men who fight to use all their positive energy to highlight what we have in common rather than arguing on what divides us.
Here in hand, we plant a seed.
History
Will help it to grow.
I think we should give a big clap to the theater team.
That's all.
Beautiful.